Hey, what is up everyone? Today we're taking a look at the Metal Build Gundam Astraea. That little flaming logo down there on the bottom left of the box means that this is a Tamashii web store exclusive, or should I say was a Tamashii web store exclusive. So that means this is a harder to get figure than your average Metal Build, and they're hard enough to get anyway. So that does mean this video right here would not have been possible without those fantastic people over at BUYEE. So if you're looking for some rare P-Bandai or other elusive Gundam kits and figures, then you will definitely find it there. Link in the description. So anyway, there is the Metal Build Gundam Astraea with absolutely everything that comes in the box, and this box comes packing. So what we've got is the Astraea itself, a full stand-in base, the large GN shield, the Proto GN high mega launcher as well as its energy cord, the standard GN shield, the Proto GN sword, GN beam rifle, GN beam launcher, 2 GN beam sabers, and we've got alternate smaller beams for using with those, an alternate butt flap, and a whole host of alternate hands and a bunch of attachment parts, adapters and pegs. But anyway, let's check out the Astraea itself first. So jumping right on into the aesthetics with that full 360-degree spin, and as you would expect with a Metal Build figure, this thing looks both fantastic and premium as hell. So as usual, I will pop the original art of the Astraea up on the right, and the figure will be on the left so you can compare and contrast yourself as well. So straight away, all I can say is this has definitely been given a bit of an upgraded look. We've got a lot of smaller detailing that isn't in the original design up on the shoulders, some new paneling on the armor parts around the knees, legs, arms, a lot of decals that aren't present in the original design, and a lot of nice metallic silver on the white to break up the white. Of course, because this is a Metal Build, there is actually metal in the build, so you can see a lot of those die-cast parts, especially in the joints, and they catch the light in such a undeniably metal kind of way. This is really nice to look at. The GN cables in the legs, on the arms, etc. aren't really as popping off as they would be on something like some of the model kits Bandai makes. These aren't pearlescent or prismatic or anything like that. These are just standard blue-ish paint. We also have some nice clear green in the chest, and hey, this thing has a lot of intricate detailing, so let's get in a little bit closer. So getting in a little bit closer, and like I mentioned, this is one premium looking figure, but I will just get right to it straight away. Bandai Tamashii Nations doesn't always have the best quality control, and even though they make something that is a pretty expensive figure, with a lot of nice detailing and detail and even detail, sometimes, this. So you will find some nubbage here and there on the figure. I find mainly it's towards the back. There's no major offenders towards the front. The ones I see the most are on the back of the arms, but still, this is not something you do like to see on something that is quite pricey. If you build a lot of Gunpla or Gundam related stuff, you wouldn't do this yourself, would you? So you expect a premium figure not to have it either. But besides that, this does look incredible. We've got multitudes of different types of paint on here. We've got a nice flat matte white. The red on here is almost pearlescent, so is the blue in the GN cables. I did say earlier on that it doesn't look like there's anything to them, but the ones on the sides are catching the light in a kind of semi-prismatic kind of way. We've got some nice metallic gunmetal on the white, breaking that all up, and in a lot of other various places, and we do have some cool new paneling on here. For example, the knee here, this paneling isn't on the original design, and up on the shoulders we've got some nice breaking up of the white into white, a nice white blue, and we've got some cool detailing in here like that metallic green, and that metallic little circle thingamabob in the shoulder. That is pretty cool. All of this same level of detail does go all the way around the figure, so it is a little bit of a disappointment that we do have a nub or two on this, but besides that, this is a feast for the eyes. Looking awesome. So now moving on to the articulation, and as you'd expect from something called a Metal Build, this is super solid. On top of that, the majority of the weight is down in its hefty metal legs, so it also has a great center of balance. Let's check out those joints. We've got a double jointed giggity neck here. I forgot the goo. And that is a ball joint up top and a bit of a hinge down bottom. The hinge in the bottom doesn't do so much, but we get plenty at the ball joint for some down, up, side to side, and all around. In typical Exia style mobile suit fashion, when you move the arm around, this chest section moves as well. Some of the joints are in there. The shoulder can move forward at the shoulder joint, but it cannot move back all that much. The shoulder armor is independent, and there's the arm all the way up, and not to forget that full 360 spin. The upper arm spin on this particular mobile suit is not actually at the upper arm, it's a little lower than that, closer to the elbow joint, so full 360. We have a double jointed elbow joint. As for the wrist here, it is some sort of ball joint, but all you really get out of this is rotation. Around on the back, the drive section is actually really cool. If you push up these upper armor section, the whole drive pulls out slightly. You can also move the bottom bit of armor as well. This looks very, very nice, and we've got a clear part inside of it. Just to show that all again in reverse, armor closes, pushes back in. Next up, we've got an ab crunch. From what I can tell, we don't seem to have any sort of side-to-side crunch, and we have a somewhat limited waist rotation. Down to the skirting armor now, and the front skirting armors are on ball joints so they can move up out of the way. According to the instructions, we do have an unlocking mechanism in the crotch. I've pulled this out and it doesn't really seem to do much, so I'm not sure what this is actually for. And around back, we do have a double premium butt flap. There is no movement to the hips in this, so they're locked in position, and as for the kicks, there it is all the way up to the front, which is pretty good, all the way out to the back, blocked a little bit by the butt flap, and as for the splits, not too bad at all. Full 360-degree rotation at the upper leg. Down at the knee now, we've got a double knee bend. This is the lower point down here, and the second point is up a little bit further, so this is one hell of a knee bend right here. Front and back moving ankle armor flaps, toe bend, ankle rotation. Finally then getting that foot on the ground to test the functional movement of the ankle without taking the foot off the ground. We get a whole lot to the front, a whole lot to the back, and some very decent side to side. So yeah, the Metal Build Astraea right here is both solid and at the same time has some great articulation. There isn't really anything letting it down at all. All you'll want, you will find right here. So now jumping on to the accessories, and once again here is absolutely everything that comes in this box, which is a lot. Now let's take a look at it all one by one. So first up, as for the hands that aren't used for holding onto weapons and equipment, we've seen these fists throughout the whole review so far. These are absolutely tiny, but we also have a set of widespread, open, well, tiny hands as well. Switching these out is simple enough to get them off, but getting them back on can be a little bit on the difficult side because they're hard to push on. Also, I will mention there is a little bit more articulation here than I thought earlier on, which is a little bit of flexion and extension. So now moving on to the weaponry, and the first of the close range weapons we have are the pair of beam sabers. So these are flat in typical Gundam 00 fashion, but we do have a nice little spray of pearlescent paint towards the base of these, which give them a little bit more of a almost hot, glowing, energetic look. Attaching these is pretty simple. You just attach on some hands that are designed specifically for holding the beam sabers, pop in the handle, pop in the beam, and you're good to go. We also have a pair of shorter beams for using with these, which look like that right there, and when these are not in use, just pop off the beams, and you can attach the handles round onto the butt flap. So the second of the close quarters weapons we have in here is the absolutely killer looking Proto GN sword, which is like a precursor to Exia's awesome GN sword. This does not have a beam rifle in it, it's just a blade. So to attach this, first you have to remove a segment from below the forearm, and then attach the Proto GN sword into that new slot, and then sandwich down the top segment like so. So when this is attached, the blade can point backwards just like so, keeping it out of the way, and that swings fluidly forward just like this. So cool. We also have a little bit of a handle that can pop into the hand, and this is what it looks like fully attached. This is one awesome blade. Next up then in here we've got the GN shield, once again looking just like the mobile suit itself in the exact same colors. Paint job looking spectacular. Attaching this is very simple, it just slots into the forearm like so, simple as, and this really does have a very cool opening mechanism. Inside of those spreading armor parts, we've got even more awesome painted detail, including some nice metallic gold. That is cool. So it's about time we got the Gundam Astraea airborne, and the stand in here is the typical metal build stand, which means it is awesome. The only odd aspect to this is you do need 2 adapters in order to attach the Astraea. 2, not 1, 2. That's a bit peculiar, but it works. So next up in here we've got the GN beam rifle, and once again, just like the rest of this kit, this looks absolutely phenomenal. So we've got a nice shiny gunmetal for the majority of it, some lighter silver detailing, some nice decals, and this looks pretty cool. Just like we would have seen recently with the real grade version of the Astraea, this can be attached onto the forearm with or without the Proto GN sword. So I'm just going to slap it on with the sword because this is such a cool combination. When this is not in use, it can be stored onto any of the hard points on the Astraea, including ones on the sides of the legs, which can be attached on like so. So once again, that is on the hip, on the knee, or on the arm. Next up then, here we've got the GN Launcher. This connects in one of the oddest Gundam weapon kind of ways. That is, you have to remove the clavicle antenna off of either side of the Astraea right here, and then the GN Launcher plugs into there. You can then pop it into the hand, and that right there is what it looks like. This is one cool looking weapon. In the same awesome gunmetal we would have seen on the beam rifle, we've got some darker on here as well, which I'm not sure if we saw on the beam rifle. I think we did, and we've got some decals. If you do not like this attached onto the clavicle antenna, there is the option to spin this little section around like so, pop out this little upper section which covers up the little peg that attaches into the clavicle for a more traditionally held long-range beam rifle thingamajig. Next up in here, we've got a whole bunch of different adapter arms which can attach onto different areas on the kit. We've got a plastic one for on the forearm, we've got two different metal ones which attach to either side of the drive round on the back, and then we've got a full alternate butt flap which has two of these die-cast fully articulated arms attached to it. These are pretty cool. Each one has a whole bunch of articulation, and besides the one on the forearm, for the most part they're all made out of die-cast metal. So next up in here, we've got the large GN shield, which can attach to any of those 4 arms we just added to the Astraea. Or should I say 5 arms, because we're going to attach it to the 5th one, the one here on the forearm. This looks absolutely fantastic, just like the rest of this figure. The paint job is immaculate on this. We can open these 4 hatches on the front to show the GN shield sensors. And around the back we have a pivoting bit of armor as well as a drop down section which allows us to access some articulation here. Pretty cool. So next up in here we've got essentially what is the piece de resistance in this particular box. That of course is the Proto GN High Mega Launcher. This is an absolute beast of an awesome weapon. I adore this. So it's pretty much a big old GN launcher, super long. It attaches onto one of those arms coming from around on the back. This holds on perfectly, by the way. That nice die-cast arm makes sure nothing flops. And then we've got that big old ammo belt. This energy belt, first off, it attaches into the underside of the large GN shield. We've got an opening door in the back of that you can attach it into. And then we've got this little handle attachment segment which can attach onto the big old Proto GN High Mega Launcher. Finally then we've got a flip up hand in the front. Well, not finally, there's a lot more to this, but we've got a flip up handle that the hand can attach onto, and there it is attached in its long mode. Just look how cool this is. The paint job on this is phenomenal. It looks so cool, and this is a really nicely designed weapon. It's awesome. And if that wasn't enough, you can do a whole lot more with this. Pretty much you can attach it to any of the arms that are on here, and there's a bit of a modular element to this too, which is cool. So yeah, if that was not cool enough, we have a whole bunch of options in here. Not only can you actually move these around from peg to peg if you prefer the other arms, but you're able to collapse the barrel of this Proto GN High Mega Launcher, as well as bring in the rear section like so, and now you've got a shorter version of the launcher. By popping off the ammo belt and handle and bringing that forward, swinging the shield up on the shoulder forward as well, now you've got a new handle up front and the ammo belt is attaching into the front. So this is really cool. You can also move the elements around if you want to, if you don't like where they are, but this really is such a cool accessory. Awesome. So anyway, that is it for the review, and what can I say? I'm super impressed by this. This is only my second ever Metal Build Gundam that I've shown on this channel. Actually, it's the only second one I've ever had my hands on, to be honest, and I am very impressed. The last one, of course, was the Metal Build Amatsuhana, and this I prefer 10 times over. Half of that is just because I love 00, and the other half is because the Amatsuhana is a little bit of a busy figure. But there's just something awesome about this. The figure itself is absolutely fantastic. Besides that, issue with the quality control on the knobs. If that wasn't there, this would be sheer perfection. But besides that, everything is great. It's solid, it's heavy, it holds a pose, and it looks phenomenal. But then when you get to the accessories, these are what blow my mind. There's such a cool set of accessories. We've got the Astraea's typical weapons, which are the Proto GN sword, the launcher, and the rifle. But it is the GN High Mega Launcher that really does make this for me. It's a transforming weapon with a long mode, a short mode. It can hold it up well, it's massive, it looks incredible. I don't know what to say. If you are a 00 fan and want a 1/100 Astraea and one that just looks awesome out of the box, you cannot go wrong with this right here. As always, I did get this through BUYEE, so if you want to get one of your own, you'll be able to find one through that link down there in the description. I'll also add the tag for searching on BUYEE if you're looking for this, but just write in Metal Build, should be easy enough to find. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, thank you so much for watching. These videos would not be possible without you guys watching these videos, so thank you once again. And special thanks, of course, to those of you who are supporting me on Patreon and over on the channel memberships, including Van Fawn, Tyler Sanders, Sean T, Mr. Winter, Lauren Seahack, Joseph Kukluk, Global Frequency Studios, Caleb Engelhardt, Bakito Official, and Craig Jerry.